The last CEO and CFOs and all that good stuff of Xbox, the strategy of Xbox to everywhere, is still moving at light speed. Just a week after its long awaited debut on the PlayStation 5, Xbox's and Bethesda's massive sci fi RPG, Starfield, has been officially rated by the Taiwan Digital Gaming Rating Committee for the Nintendo Switch 2. And while Bethesda hasn't yet issued a formal announcement, these rating boards listings are historically the smoking gun for imminent reveals. With over 15 million players already exploring the settled systems of Starfield across Xbox and PC, a jump to Nintendo's next generation hardware is a logical move. But the timing and the data behind it suggests a complex strategy at play. The news of the Switch 2 port arrives as early data trickles in regarding Starfield's performance on the Sony hardware. According to data analysts, the PlayStation 5 version sold approximately 140,000 copies in its first week. And that pales in comparison to what it did on Xbox and PC. And while that did generate roughly an extra $7.7 million in revenue for Xbox, it's relatively small splash for a Bethesda title of this magnitude. The real question everyone is asking isn't just if it's coming, but how it runs. We've seen Bethesda pull off the impossible port before with Skyrim and Doom Eternal on the original Switch, but Starfield is a different beast entirely. It's a CPU heavy game that struggled to maintain 30 frames per second on the Series X at launch. If the Switch 2 is truly packing that T239 chip with Blackwell based architecture, we're looking at a massive jump in efficiency here. The key isn't raw horsepower, it's the tensor cores. With the rumors of specialized upscaling tech with DLSS5 or advanced FSR implementation, Bethesda might be targeting that 40 frames per second golden ratio. Now, yes, I know the Switch 2 does not do DLSS 5, but they do have their own version of DLSS. On a handheld screen, 40 frames per second with that refresh rate feels significantly smoother than the 30 frames per second cap we saw on the higher power consoles. If they can nail that stability while maintaining the planetary density, it just won't be a port. It's going to be a technical showcase for what Nintendo's hardware can actually do when pushed. Industry analysts suggest that the staggered releases, launching nearly 18 months after the original debut, may have cooled the initial hype, along with the novelty factor of playing Xbox games on your PlayStation. Got to consider that as the PS5 becomes increasingly populated with more Xbox exclusives, like Forza Horizon 5, the shock value of these ports kind of begins to wear off. While Nintendo's ecosystem, however, offers a different landscape. See, the Switch has always been a haven for impossible ports, and they tend to sell very well. The prospects of playing a game as technically demanding as Starfield in a handheld format that runs consistently, even if it's just at 30 frames per second at 1440p, man, technically, that's a great deal. It's a major selling point. And if Bethesda can optimize the experience for the Switch 2's upgraded internals, perhaps targeting that, the new standard 40 frames per second via advanced upscaling with FSR 3, they might find a more receptive audience on the Switch 2 than they did on the high-spec saturated PlayStation 5. This move also confirms everything we've been hearing about Microsoft's Project Helix internal shifts. The days of Xbox only are effectively dead for legacy Bethesda titles. When you look at those 140,000 sales on PS5, It's clear that the wait and see approach from Sony fans didn't yield the massive goldmine that Microsoft might have hoped for. By pivoting immediately to the Switch 2, Microsoft is chasing the volume. There are millions of Nintendo fans who haven't touched a Bethesda RPG since Skyrim or Fallout 4 even. To them, Starfield isn't a year-old game, it's a brand new universe. This is a volume play. Microsoft needs to recoup that $7.5 billion ZeniMax acquisition. And you don't do that by keeping your biggest RPGs locked behind a single ecosystem that's already peaked in hardware sales. Bethesda's massive 2026 roadmap plays into this. And Starfield isn't the only Bethesda heavyweight making the jump. Fallout 4 just made the jump. The company is currently in the midst of an aggressive multi-platform sprint for 2026. The anniversary edition of Fallout 4 landed on February 24th, and I haven't put the game down. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is scheduled for Switch 2 on May 12th. That's only a month away. And The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, the surprise PC drop of last year, yeah, that's confirmed for a late 2026 release on the Switch too. By the way, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered, amazing. When you add Starfield to this lineup, it completes a Bethesda mega pack for the Switch 2 audience, especially in its first full year. The recent Indonesian rating leak for Diablo 4 and its Lord of Hatred expansion suggests that Microsoft's wider portfolio is also being prepped for a massive Nintendo push. The absence of Starfield from the February Nintendo Partner Showcase raised a lot of eyebrows. People kind of expected it. But it did lead to some to speculate that maybe the port had hit technical hurdles. However, the appearance of this Taiwan rating suggests the game is ready for the spotlight. Rumors are now swirling that Nintendo is holding back a Starfield reveal for a dedicated Partners Direct that maybe comes later this spring, potentially to highlight the Switch 2's unique hardware capabilities. For those who haven't yet ventured into Bethesda's first new universe in 25 years, the Switch 2 version promises the full experience. Unparalleled freedom, explore over 1,000 planets, from bustling neon cities to desolate moon bases. Deep customization, build your own starships, establish outposts for resource extraction, craft unique gear. I like this game. I was a champion for it from the beginning. It's not a A+ game, but it is a solid B+, A- game. Very, very good Bethesda game. The story you tell, whether you're a stealthy cyber runner or a charming diplomat, the game's core identity will remain the focus on player agency. It's all up to you. It's a must-have if you're a Switch 2 owner and you don't already own a PS5 or Xbox or even a PC. As the industry watches to see if Starfield can replicate the Skyrim on Switch success story, which, by the way, sold gangbusters for Bethesda, all eyes are now on the official trailer. If Bethesda fixes all the bugs that are available, because it can't be a Bethesda game without bugs, and a firm release date, we might see a blockbuster for the Switch 2. And let's look at the precedent here. When we look at the history of porting from the NES era all the way through the Wii U, we've seen this pattern before. Third-party giants test the waters with a massive hit. And if it sticks, the floodgates open. If Starfield outperforms the PS5 version on Switch 2, expect the rest of the catalog to follow suit even faster. We're already hearing about Oblivion Remastered, and of course Indiana Jones. It's just the tip of the iceberg. We are entering in an era where hardware boundaries matter less than the software ecosystem. And for a game built on exploration like Starfield, finding a home on a portable system might be the most Bethesda move that they've made in years. Like, share, subscribe. Let me know if you're excited for a version of this game on your Switch too. I, for one, have played this game. I actually subbed to Xbox Game Pass for it, and I will say it was worth every penny. I beat the game. It was a really really good experience. I like Bethesda games. I love Fallout. I love Skyrim, and Bethesda did not let me down with Starfield. You can't go wrong in my opinion. But really the curiosity is, will you pick this up if you're a Switch 2 owner? Like, share, subscribe, leave that comment, let me know below. As always, happy to have you here with me at Starflagmedia, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace.